So for the continuation of our lesson last week, so we'll proceed to the percentage composition of a compound. So as when we say percentage composition, it is calculated from a molecular formula. So last time we already discussed about the molecular formula. So it is a division of the empirical formula. So by dividing the mass of a single element in 1 mole of a compound by the mass of 1 mole by the entire compound. So just like the empirical and the molecular formula, we are also going to get the molar mass of a compound. So before we can proceed to the percentage composition of a compound, we need first to get the molar mass of a compound and also its atomic mass. So, diba, as we all know that the atomic mass of each element, so that we will determine if the percentage composition of a compound is correct and related. So, how do we know that the percentage or the percentage composition of a substance is correct? So, kailangan it will be equivalent to 100%. So, for example, a combination of water and oxygen. So, dapat the oxygen in water, there is a element wherein it is hydrogen and oxygen. So, dapat si hydrogen o si oxygen would equal to 100%. So, for example, hydrogen is 78.50%. So, dapat katong 78 sa 100% kanabilin dapat maupod to ang percentage composition ni oxygen. So, pag mulampas na siya, kailangan nimo i-recheck ang imuhang solution or your answer. So, just like this example. So, for our sample number 1, so determine the mass percent of each element in aluminum sulfate. So, we're going to determine the percentage composition of a compound. So, our given here is we have our compound. So, as you remember kanina, we need first to solve for the molar mass of the compound. So, first, we're going to molar mass. So, we have the aluminum, the sulfur, and the oxygen. So, aluminum has 2 atoms. The sulfur also has 2. And our oxygen is 2 times 4 is equivalent to 8. Then, we're going to multiply by their atomic mass. So, our aluminum is 27 grams per mole. Our sulfur is 32 grams per mole. And our oxygen is 16 grams per mole. So, after na nato nakuha ang atomic mass of each element, so, ang ato himon is to multiply. So, itong last topic nato, diba, we already discussed about the molar mass. So, 2 times 27 is we have 54 grams per mole. So, for our sulfur, 32 times 2 is 96. Then, for our oxygen, it is 192 grams per mole. So, we're going to add the 3 atomic or the molar mass of each element. So, 54 plus 96 plus 192. Yes, it is equivalent to. So, the molar mass of the compound is 342 grams per mole. So, we have now our molar mass of the compound. So, we can now solve for our percentage composition. So, since you are done with our step 1, we will proceed to our step 2, which is getting the composition of a compound. So, isa-isa ang pagkuha sa percentage composition. But the question here is determine the percent of each from the word each element, which means isa-isa. So, first, we're going to get the percentage composition of the aluminum. So, it's equals to 54 grams per mole over 342 grams per mole multiply to 100%. So, it is, 54 divided to 342 multiplied to 100%, it is equivalent to 15.79%. So, 15.79%. So, if you're asking, ma'am, asa gikan ang 54? So, as you can, go back to our molar mass, diba, ang atong aluminum is 54 grams per mole. Then, asa nakto nakuha ang 342, ma'am? It is the total mass of a compound. So, mo na siya ang, kung asa ni gikan ang 54, ug ang 342. So, next one is we have the sulfur. Sulfur is 96 grams per mole over 342 grams per mole multiply to 100%. So, same process lang from the first element. So, cancel out. Actually, cancel out po ni siya dire. Here also. So, 96 divided to 342 multiply to 100%. So, it is, yes, it is 28. So, 28.07%. So, that is for sulfur then. And also for oxygen. So, kaon na to ang molar mass at tulo ka element. So, we have 192 grams per mole over 342 grams per mole multiply to 100%. So, cancel out na to ang grams per mole at itira is the percent. So, 192 divided to 342, it is equivalent to 56.14%. So, how will we determine that our compound has a total of 100%? So, we're going to add the 3. So, 9 plus 7 plus 14. So, it's just like 15.79 plus 28.07 plus 56.14. So, it is equivalent to 100%. So, dapat ang total niya is, it's either 99.99 or 100%. So, what if, ma'am, it is only 99 or 98? So, you need to recheck your percentage or your atomic mass or your molar mass. So, you need to check that one para ma-determine mo kung asa ka nagka-mali. So, how about this one? So, example number 2. A certain newly synthesized compound is known to contain the element zinc and oxygen. So, our known elements is zinc and oxygen. So, when a 20 gram sample of the compound is decomposed in 16.0 grams, so determine the percentage composition of the compound. So, in a question, there is a new synthesized compound, which contains the zinc and the oxygen. So, therefore, this is the element that is present in a compound. So, our given is we have mass of the compound. So which means that the mass of the compound is already determined. And it is equivalent to 20 grams. While our zinc is 16.07 grams. So our element zinc already has 16.07 grams. So we have already our mass of the compound and also the mass of our zinc. So first, we need to determine the mass of the oxygen. Since unknown ang mass sa oxygen, so dili ta maka-proceed to solve our percentage composition of the compound. So first, determine the mass of oxygen. Kay naa naman tayo zinc for mass of zinc and also mass of the compound. So how to solve for the mass of the oxygen? So here it is. This oxygen is equals to 20 grams minus 16.07 grams. So which means that in a compound, it is a combination of oxygen and the zinc. So diri sa atong compound, na-determine nato nga ang zinc is equivalent to 16.7 grams. So ang nabilin nito sa 20, mauto ang composition sa ato ang oxygen. So our oxygen is 3.93 grams. So this is now the mass of our oxygen. So we can now proceed for the step B. Determining the percentage composition of the compound. So first, the zinc is equals to 16.07 grams over 20.0 grams times 100%. So just like the example number 1, we need to emit the like unit. So 16.07 divided to 20 multiply to 100. So cancel out na to ang mass. So the answer is 80.35 grams, 35%. So our zinc is equivalent to 80.35%. So how about our oxygen? So copy 3.93 grams divided to 20.0 grams times 100%. Cancel out the grams, so it's equals to 3.93 divided to 20 multiply to 100, so it is equivalent to 19.65%. So how will we determine if it is already 100%, if it is 100% in total? So we need to add 5 plus 5, 0, 1, 6 plus 3, 9, so na 1, 0, so again, 9 plus 1, 0, then 8 plus 1, 9 plus 1, it is 10. So here it is. So it is equivalent to 100% or 100%. So that is now the final answer, or the percentage of a compound that is present in a newly synthesized na zinc and the oxygen. So for our last topic for this first quarter, we have the balancing equation or chemical reaction and chemical equation. So when we say chemical reaction, it is the process in which a substance or substances is changed from one or more new substances. So this is where the coefficient or this is where the coefficient is present. So, di ba, for example, we have the water. So, H2O. So, reacts with or yields to H2 plus O2. So, this is our subscript. So, as you can see, our equation or our chemical equation is not balanced. So, this is water yields to hydrogen plus oxygen. So, there is a decomposition of a compound. So, a chemical equation is a representation using chemical symbols to show what happens during a chemical reaction. So, which means there is the chemical reaction that happens. So, ang tawag ani is a chemical equation. And ang process nga itong himuon is a balancing equation. So, we have a chemical reactions. And also, we have chemical equations. And the balancing equation. So, this chemical equation shows how this chemical reacts or how this chemical combined or decompose. So, this is what happened during the reactions. Either they decompose or they combine. And this balancing equation shows how to balance the chemical equation. So, just like this one. So, this atom is called a subscript. Then, kung magbutang ka diri og number or magbutang ka diri og number, it is called the coefficient. So, this is the coefficient. So, you cannot write a coefficient between the compound. Okay, if you write 2 here between a compound, it is already wrong. So, you must write a coefficient before the first element of a compound, just like the water. So, another one is the sugar. Diba? We have the C12H22O oxygen. Then, there is a decomposition happens. So, in order to balance the equation, you need to write a coefficient before the compound, which means diri ka magbutang og coefficient. And then, another rule is do not change the subscript. Constant na siya o dili na nimo siya mabago. So, just like this example. So, for the continuation of the rules of writing a balancing equation, I will publish a PowerPoint on how to solve or how to paano i-solve or kuhaon ang balance sa isa ka chemical reaction for the rules in balancing equation. So, I'll give you a sample number 1. So, we have, this is our chemical equation, yields to plus hydrogen. So, our potassium plus water leads to potassium hydroxide plus hydrogen. Oh, I forgot the... So, ang tawag ani niya is skeletal equation. Kani siya. Kani. Ang tawag ani. It is skeletal equation, which means that this is the equation that you're going to use on how the reactants, so this is our reactants and our product. So that is our product. So first, we're going to write the element that are present in both sides from reactants to product. So we have the potassium, we have the hydrogen, and the oxygen. The next, write the coefficient that are present in or from the reactants and our product. So our potassium is 1, our hydrogen is 2, our oxygen is 1. Then sa product naman, our potassium is 1, our hydrogen is 3. Ito lang i-separate para if ever dagdagan na to og coefficient, dili ta maglisod. And our oxygen is also 1. So as you can see, our hydrogen is not balanced. So what are we going to do in order to balance our chemical equation or skeletal equation? So first, class, unahon din na to gamiton ang pinakababa, which is 1. Magsugod ta sa 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5. Kung di pa yapon mabalance sa 2, then proceed to 3. Kung dili mabalance sa 3, then 4. Kung dili 4, 5. So first, we're going to use 1. So if we're going to use 1, it will not be balanced. Okay, kung 1 times, patali mo 1, no need naman, kay understandable. So 2 dayon ta next. So if we're going to write a 2, so, for example, we write 2 here. So, multiply by 2. May mo siyang 2. So, here kay 1 man. So, you need to write also 2. So, times 2. So, equals 2. 2. So, since here, gibutngan man mo siya og 2. Imaginary na kagibutang na 2. So, 2 times 1, it affects everyone. So, it becomes 2. Then, 2 times 1, it becomes 2. So, as you can see, pag-abot dili na sad siya balance. So, diba, tayo mo imaginary 2. So, here kay 2, this diri kay 4, diri kay 2, diri kay 1. So, we need to put also another imaginary 2 here. So, 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 1, 2. So, as you can see, it is already balanced. So, we can now proceed to write our final answer. So, for our final answer, so 2 potassium plus 2 hydrogen water yields to 2 plus yan. So, that is our final answer. So, these are the coefficient that being added in order to balance the skeletal or the chemical equation or our skeletal equation. So, these are the atong gigamit para mabalance nato ang atoang skeletal equation. So, from reactants to product. Dapat balance ang reactants ug ang atoang product. So, dili jud pwede class nga dili sila mabalance. Kung dili mabalance, bisang unsa pa niabot ta kag 100, which means that cannot be. So, pwede po na mga inana given, na mga inana na mga problem na dili na ako ihatag or dili gud siya mabalance. So later on, siguro maghatag ko mga sa inyong mga quizzes or exams nga dili siya mabalance. So, this is our final answer. So, 2 is the lowest number to be used in order to balance the equation. So, may ma'am, what if akong gigamit kay 4? Pero na-balance man siya gihapon. So, consider ba siya? So, dili siya consider. Kaya one of the rules is to use the lowest number in order to balance the skeletal equation. So, ang dawat na answer is this one. Saan pag yung gamit dito 16, 16, 16, 16, balance mangyapon is already wrong. Kaya naapay pinaka-lowest number sa 16 na pwede man day makabalance sa ato ang skeletal equation. So, for our sample number 2, so we're going to balance our reactants from our product. So, same process gihapon with our example number 1. So, write first the elements that are present in both product and reactants. Then, here is our reactants. Then, sa kabila is our product. So then next, we're going to write the atom that are present from reactants and product. So here you have 1 copper. So 2 times 1, we have 2 nitrogen. Our oxygen is 2 times 3, we have 6, and also we have 1. So for our potassium, we have also 1. Our hydrogen is we have also 1. And sa kabila naman, our copper, we have also 1. Nitrogen, we have 1. Oxygen, we have 2, and we have 3. So separate ya po nato ang dalawa para pag mag-add taon niya og coefficient, pilit na maglisod. Kaya malibog bantaan na kung atong isa lang. Potassium is also 1. And our hydrogen is 2. So next, we're going to find the least number to use in order for us to balance our chemical equation or our skeletal equation. So why not we use first 2. So, as you observe here, our copper from reactants and our product is balanced. So, pwede na to na siya i-leave sa. So, next is our nitrogen. So, here we have 2. And then, here is we have 1. So, why not? Diri ta magbutang og imaginary 2. So, 2 times 1, magiging 2 ito. 2 times 1, magiging 2. Then, our nitrogen and oxygen will be affected since nasa isang compound man sila. So, 2 times 3, it is 6. So, as you can see, naglayo na ang ato ang oxygen, potassium, and hydrogen. And we need to balance that one. So, asa man ta dapat mag-balance? So, dire kay potassium. So, write imaginary 2. So, let's try. So, 1 times 2 is 2. Our hydrogen, so, times 2 din. Then, also our oxygen. So, times 2 gihapon siya. So, here, 1 times 2 is equals also to 2. So, if we're going to add this one, our oxygen become 8. Then, here, then the side become 8. So, which means that our compound, reactants, and product is already balanced. Okay? Reactant is 1, 1, 2, and 2. Oxygen is 8. Then our product is 8. Potassium is 2, 2, 2, 2. So, we can now write down our final answer. So, CuNO32 plus 2KOH, which is aqueous, reacts with copper 2, which is solid form, plus 3. So, which is aqueous also. So, this is now our final answer. So, always good ta class, mag-start sa pinakagamay na number, which is the 2. Kaya kung kaya naman na siya i-balance sa 2, then we don't need na to use the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on and so forth. So, that is for example. For our last and third example, so we're going also to balance. So, just like what we did from sample 1 and sample 2, so the difference lang is the coefficient is very high. So, we need to find talaga the exact number to balance the reactants in our products. So, write first the elements, then their coefficients. From reactants, then our product. So, our carbon, 6, hydrogen, 14, and our oxygen is 2. Then, our product, our carbon is 1, our oxygen is 2 and 1, then our hydrogen is 2. So, as you can see, the reactants and product are very far. Kaya itong carbon sa reactants kay 6. Tapos itong carbon sa products kay 1 na lang during the reaction. While our hydrogen is 14, then itong product is 2. Then our oxygen, we have here 2. Then our product is 3. So, let's now balance our skeletal or chemical equation. So, 2, if we use 2, so if we use 2 here, or if we use 6, so it becomes 6. So, kung butang tag 6 dire, maapektuhan po ni siya. So, if 2 times 6 becomes 12. So, ang ending, tayo na po kayo siya. Na-balance ang carbon, pero atong oxygen is very, very layo na po kayo. So, kung atong yan na po diri ang parimay mo siyang 12. So, na to 6. So, 2 times 6 becomes 12. So, dili pwede kay 13 man tanan ang atuang oxygen dire. So, dili pwede ang 2. Or di pwede ang 6. So, kung 3 naman, dili pwede kay 1 times 6. Kung 6 na, 7. Dili pwede ang 7. Kung 8, so, affected pa rin ang oxygen and hydrogen. So, mugamit diri og 2. Kani siya 2 times 6 may mug 12. So, layo na kaayo sa ato ang product. So, what will we do to balance? So, kailangan na to 8, 9. 9, dili na gid pwede. So, why not i-try sa nato diri ang 2. Kaya dili magid pwede nga even add. So, dili na to ma-add ang ato ang makaano is the oxygen manggod ang makadaot. So, why not here we use 2. So, 2 times 2, 12. Then, 2 times 14. So, 2 times 14 becomes 28. So, may mo siyang 28. So, para may mo siyang 2 times 12. Tama ba? So, here, para mabalance, gamitan na itong 12. So, becomes 12. So, kung 12 diri, 12 times 2. So, kung 12 times 2 becomes 24. So, 12 times 2, 24. Then, para maging 24 ang ato ang oxygen diri sa atong reactants, we need to find a number na mag-balance po sa pikas. So, unsa atong gamiton para 24? So, may mo man 25. So, here, di na pwede kalayo na kayong oxygen. So, we need to balance sa muna before natin problema on. So, next, the hydrogen. So, why not? We use 14. So, kay kung 2 man diri, so 2 times 14, 28. So, use 14. So, 2 times 14 becomes 28. So, na-balance na. Karon, 14 times 1. So, 1 times 14, it becomes 38. Or, I mean, 14. So, i-add na to ng duha. We have 24 plus 14. So, 4 plus 4, 8. So, 1 plus 2, 38. So, which means, sa tama, ito atong gigamit na coefficient. So, since atong oxygen naman lang ang di na ito mabalance, why not we use i-number nga mag-equal sa 38? So, unsay mag-equal sa 38? So, it is 19. So, write 19 here. So, 19 times 2 is equivalent to 38. So, it is balance. Our reactants and our product is balance. So, for our final answer, we have 2, 6, 14, liquid, plus 19. Oxygen, gas, yields to 12. So, gas, plus 14. So, we have now our final answer. So, these are the numbers that we could use. So, this is now our final answer. So, this is the number that we could use in order to balance the equation. So, we have the 2, the 19. So, the 19, 12, and the 14. So, this is now our final answer. So, this is our final answer. So, it is already balanced. So, we have the 2 here, 19, 12, and also we have here the 14.